Do you want to start playing the piano right now? Here's the most important things you need to know to start playing the piano today. The first thing is that there's a pattern using the letters of the alphabet. You only use the first 7 letters of the alphabet on the piano. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. After G, it goes back to A. This pattern repeats. So there's only 7 keys that you need to know. A through G, then it repeats again. A through G, A through G, and this goes all the way to the top of the piano. Now keep in mind, if you don't have a full-size piano, count your keys if you're not sure. If you have less than 88 keys, that means the first note won't be A, but I'll tell you how to figure out what the first note is later on in the video. The second thing that you need to know is so that's the white keys, A through G, but what about the black keys? Is that the black keys are sharps and flats. So say, for example, if you have the note F here, no, that's terrible. Say, for example, you have the note G. If you move one key to the right, that's G sharp because we're moving to the right. If we move to the black key to the left of G, that's G flat. So left on the piano means flat, right means sharp. Let's do one more. So let's say we have the note D. If I move to the right, that's D sharp. If I move to the left, that's D flat. It's also important to understand that a black key could have multiple letter names. So this note here, this black key here, this could be F sharp, or it could be G flat. It depends on what key the song is that you're playing. All right, the next most important thing is how to use the black keys to find the next most important thing is how to use the black keys to find the letter names, the white keys, really quickly. Instead of counting all the way up from the bottom of the piano every time, you can just do this. So let's say you want to find C. Find a group of 2 black keys. Here's one right here. You can tell it's a group of 2 because there's a gap. There's 2 white keys on either side. There's a gap here. So this is not a group of 2 black keys because there's only a gap on this side, not on this side. This is a group of 3 black keys. So the group of 2 black keys, right? You find that. Then you find the note immediately to the left, and that is C. Every single time. So here's a group of 2. C is to the left. A group of 2, C is to the left. Every single time. If you go to the right of the group of 2, that's E. If you go in the middle of the group of 2, that's D. So right here you have C, D, and E. Now you can use the alphabet to figure out the rest by going in order, C, D, E, F, G. And then we know it goes back to A, B, C, D. Or you can use a group of 3 black keys. If you play the group of 3, immediately to the left is F, to the right is B, in the middle are G and A. Okay, so I would memorize where those notes are as quick as possible. So once you know that, you could say, oh, there's a group of 2, there's C to the left, and guess what? Then I'm moving to the right, that's C sharp. Or if I start on D and go left, that's D flat. So that it all comes together. All right, the next thing I'm going to tell you to do is to try to make simple chords using the notes we just learned. So a group of 3 or more notes is a chord. So what I would do is use your thumb, middle finger, and pinky to play all these chords. Put your thumb on C. Now we know how to find C from before. Find a group of 2 black keys. Go one to the left of the group, and that's C. Then the next note is D. We're going to skip that. The next note is E. We're going to play that. Next note is F. Skip that. And the next note is G. Play that. Now you could also use your left hand. So if you use your left hand, it's not going to be the same. Thumb, third finger, pinky, because look what happens. My wrist turns and it's uncomfortable. You're going to start on your pinky on C. Skip D. E is still the third finger. Skip F, and your thumb is now on G. but it's the same 3 notes, the same chord. We're gonna call this chord a C chord because the first note on the bottom is C. So if I move this pattern up, I'm just moving up 1 key to the right. Now it's a D chord because the first note is D. If I move again to the right, now it's an E chord, the first note's E. Then we can play an F chord, a G chord, an A chord, or a B chord, and then that pattern repeats back to C. Okay. And you can practice playing these chords with both hands, moving up and down the piano. Okay, the next most important thing I'm going to tell you to do is try to pick a song that's really simple and try to play it just by listening to it. Try to find the notes on the piano and figure out the notes that you're playing. So let's say, for example, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So sing it first. So twinkle, try to match that note you're singing with the notes on the piano. So hold out the note, twinkle. Okay, so I found it right away. So in this case, the note I was singing was C, but let's say it was twinkle. So that time it was D, right? So I had to find it. So hold out the note you're singing and try to match the pitch on the piano. That's your starting note. Let's start on D then. Let's try to get the second note. Twinkle, twinkle. There it is. So I already know the song, of course, so I'm not having too much trouble, but you might. Twinkle. Oh, there it is. You might take a few tries to get there, right? Okay, so you could play this song by ear, or you could just try to play it without singing it. That might be a little trickier. So like this. Okay, but let's say you don't know the song, right? You know the tune, but you don't know it on the piano, right? Like me. So what if you played a wrong note? Could you tell if it was a wrong note? Let's see. I bet you could hear which note was the wrong note. It was this one. So that means we have to try a different note. So we know the first 2 are right. Let's try a different note for the third one. No, see, I could tell that note is a little too high. So I tried this one. I tried this one. Let's try the one in the middle and see what happens. Yeah, that sounds right. So now I know the next part goes, how I wonder what you are. I know my singing is terrible, but let's keep going. So let's play it on the piano. Let's try, I know the notes are going down, so left on the piano, so I'm not gonna go up. That's not right. So maybe we'll try this note and then this note and see what that sounds like. Okay, here we go. Well, that didn't sound right at all. I know the last 2 sounded pretty good. What you are. But let's try, so the only options left are these 2 white keys here. Let's try the white keys instead. Okay, so now I know that these 3 notes are correct, but this one is not. The only option is this black key here, which is F sharp or G flat. Let's try that. And now that sounds correct. And if you played all of those notes like I did, that's another chord. It's a D chord. Okay, so it may take a while to get the melody correct, but once you get it, you figure out the notes, write them down, you'll memorize it for next time. Then once you have that, try to play it starting on another note. So try it starting on C. And do the same process starting on every single note on the piano. All right, next thing, so from the All right, so the next thing I'm going to tell you to do is combine the chords we learned from before and the melody we learned from before. Whichever song you want to start on, it doesn't have to be Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Try to play chords in the left hand while you're playing the melody in the right hand. You might say, how do I know what chords to use with the melody? Let's take Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Let's start on C. So since we're starting on the note C in the right hand, I'm going to make an assumption that the left hand will also start on C, a C chord. So let's see if that sounds all right. Let's see. Okay, that did sound all right until I got to this note. So now this note doesn't really fit with the C chord. So let's try, maybe we'll try an F chord because the note is F, right? Let's try that. And then I move back to C at the end. What if I didn't move back to C at the end? It kind of sounds like it's not finished. So if it sounds unfinished, you want to go back to the first chord. The chord you started with it feels like home, like the song is done. So now let's try adding some other chords. Let's try A minor. How about some, an A chord? Let's just try different chords on different notes and see what happens. What is it going to sound like? Okay, it sounded pretty cool, right? Now I'll tell you, those aren't the correct chords, but it does sound cool. So you're kind of making your own version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, just using your ears and kind of figuring out what sounds right, what sounds cool. Now, if you want to try to figure out the correct chords by ear, you can listen to the song, of course, or what you can do is what I was saying in the beginning. If you're playing a note in the right hand melody, try to play chords that have that note in the chord. So if I'm playing C, I'm going to play a C chord. Now here is A. A is not in the C chord. Which chord has the note A in it? No, A minor does. F does. D does. So how do I know which one to pick? Well, you just try it with all three. Let's see what they sound like. So here's the A chord first. Okay, let's try F. That sounded the closest to the actual song to me. Let's try D minor. Yeah, that didn't sound like it. The A and the D chord, they do sound cool, but that doesn't sound like the actual song. It is definitely F on that note. But then it kind of sounds like the chord changes again when we go back to G. And G is not in the F chord. G is in the G chord. G is in the E chord. It's also in C. Let's try all three of those chords and see what sounds right. Okay, I know it's definitely C, but I'm going to play the other three so you can hear what they sound like. See, it sounds unfinished. Now let's try the E minor chord. That does sound cool, but it sounds sad, like a sad Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Anyway, so that's what you have to do if you're playing by ear. And the last most important thing to practice to get better at piano is your scales. So I'll teach you one scale, the C scale. This is all white keys. The main purpose for practicing scales is to improve your finger dexterity and speed on the piano. So the C scale, you're going to practice hands separate first, then hands together, and try to go as fast as you can. So the right hand, you're going to put your thumb on C, second finger on D, third finger on E, cross under to F, second finger G, third A, fourth B, fifth C. Once you reach the note that you started on, that's how you know you've got to the end. Now you're going to go backwards. So C, B, A, G, thumb on F, cross over with your third finger, E, D, C. Once you've hit C, you know you're at the end. So practice that nice and slow until you can get this cross under and cross over. Perfect. Make sure you're ending on your thumb on the bottom and you're ending on your pinky on the top note. Now let's go to the left hand. So the left hand, you're going to start on your pinky on C, fourth finger D, third finger E, second finger F, thumb G, cross over with your third finger to A, second finger B, thumb C. Then go reverse. C, B, A, cross under with your thumb to G, second finger F, E, D, and end on C with your pinky. Once you've practiced both hands and you can play them perfectly, separate, try to put them together. Go one note at a time if you need to, so you know exactly when the cross unders happen, when the cross overs happen. Developing that muscle memory. Eventually, you can play it super fast. And once you've got the C scale down, click the link in the description to learn how to play all major and minor scales. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope this gets you started playing the piano. I just want to leave you with this advice. The piano is easy to get started. It's the easiest instrument to get started. You just push a key and it makes a sound, but it's the most difficult to master. So I hope you practice and get as good at the piano as you can. See you in the next one.